Yo, story of K2 or K1 or yeah, K2.
Wide warrants have been issued for two men wanted in connection to a Vaughan murder, but authorities say one of them is tied to a second murder in Toronto.
Warrants have been issued for 19-year-old Isaiah Thomas Badger for first-degree murder and arson.
Investigators say they should both be considered armed and dangerous.
Before the name K2 started ringing out in headlines and the streets, Isaiah Badger was just a regular kid living a normal life with his family in Calgary. He was one of three kids raised by his mom, Nakia Louise Crochue Cardinal, who held everything down until she passed away in 2023 at just 35. That lost everything down until
Yo, his mom's kind of bad though. Like literally, she's kind of bad.
she passed away in 2023 at just 35.
Oh
That
damn,
loss hit different because not long after, that same regular kid would end up on the run, allegedly tied to two murders, caught up in a life he later admitted
19-year-old bro. 19, bro, just a year older than me. Probably turning 20 this year.
worth it. Meanwhile, this is all unfolding at the same time Edmonton's underworld is heating up. Over the past year, different blocks and gangs started forming rivalries and going at each other, and it's only been getting worse, especially with alliances constantly switching up. And that's what makes this story crazy. It's really about the switch. How does someone go from being a normal kid to allegedly doing hits for a quick buck?
From what I heard, he basically wanted to help his grandma. He was living with his grandma. I think she was about to get evicted after boom. He was like, "Yo, I need help my grandma out." Could have gotten a job, but she's literally about to get evicted. That's not gonna help. It's gonna probably help in the long run, but not gonna help specifically. The chance of him getting a job is literally low. The war in Edmonton.
Isaiah Badger, also known by his stage name K2, is described as originally being from Calgary, but later moving to Edmonton in his teens. A 19-year-old hockey-loving kid with Indigenous roots, he was one of three kids raised by his mom who passed away in 2023 at just 35. This is when everything changed. According to those who knew him, the death of his mother really made him a different person. Not long after, he started drifting away from the life he once had, slowly getting pulled into Edmonton's streets as tensions between different blocks were already rising. Around late 2022 into 2023, K2 began making his name known, both through music and his association with Castle Downs, a group that was just starting to become active at the time.
Stick full of hollows, your skin get burned. Hopping on blue and bro, scream, don't run. Me, I don't care, that's what make this shit fun. Suit up and go catch him, that shit ain't none.
Okay, ease. You can't even lie. He's kind of valid.
Before 2023, Castle Downs, or CD, was largely seen as just a regular suburb, something even mocked in local tracks by rivals such as 32, a crew reigning from the Abbotsfield block in North Edmonton. But rappers like Swiper and other older members are said to have helped establish the actual Castle Downs movement, with K2 and his circle bringing more visibility to it. Within that circle, K2 built close ties with rappers Baby Gliz, a rapper originally from
that's one like Toronto rap or music that I'd say is kind of valid. The song was kind of, valid. Just saying.
5, a crew based out of Duggan, as well as others like Swiper, Dino, Raph, Fatboy, and Rico. Early on, their activity mostly involved typical youth conflicts rather than anything major, but for K2, things escalated after the 2024 Calgary Stampede incident. The Calgary Stampede is one of Canada's biggest and most well-known events, held every July in Calgary, Alberta. Often called the greatest outdoor show on Earth, it brings in huge crowds for a 10-day mix of rodeos, concerts, carnival rides, and non-stop nightlife. During Stampede, the entire city turns up, people coming in from all over, which also makes it a chaotic environment where things can go left quickly. It was during this high-energy setting that K2 and Baby Gliz were jumped and robbed on camera by members of the Get Back gang.
Never act tough. You hear? Don't ever act tough. You don't know what you're getting. Yo, man. Everything, man. Make it quick, man. Quick, nigga. What do you have? Yo, stop that benzene, nigga.
I think I saw that video.
Down.
The confrontation allegedly stems from Swiper's younger brother being bullied by Get Back Gang, a group based around the Londonderry apartment complex on 72 Street near John Barnett School. Get Back Gang, also known as 727, is described as a group that formed more seriously after pressure and ongoing conflicts, particularly tied to that situation. After getting caught lacking by Get Back Gang members, K2 is described as changing significantly, becoming more aggressive and focused on retaliation. What followed was months of back-and-forth violence between his side and Get Back Gang, including repeated shootings in areas like John Barnett School. And as tensions kept building, those problems didn't stay in the streets, they started spilling into public spaces. That brings us to April 6, 2025. K2 and Flocka, a fellow Castle Downs affiliate, were at Southgate Center. 5. K2 and Flocka, a fellow Castle Downs affiliate, were at Southgate Center in Edmonton when they were...
Don't tell me they were robbed again. Bro, like, let the man slide for a bit. It's just 1 second, bro.
were caught lacking by members of GBG. The confrontation was recorded and quickly circulated, showing GBG members approaching and pressing both K2 and Flocka in the middle of the mall. What started as a tense confrontation escalated within seconds. GBG members can be seen swinging brooms, while in response, Flocka grabs a wet floor sign and starts striking back. The whole situation played out in public, adding to the tension between the two sides and further fueling an already active conflict. What followed only escalated things further. In the time after the Southgate incident, K2 was allegedly involved in 2 separate shootings in GBG territory, signaling a shift from public altercations to more serious retaliation.
There's more right here. We got a better view right here. Oh, they're wrapping up, I think.
The conflict reportedly carried on for months until things eventually cooled, with one GBG member allegedly signaling they were done with the situation, leading to K2 personally squashing that specific beef. even though Castle Downs as a whole continued to have issues with them. But as the pressure kept building, things didn't just stay at the level of local beef. K2 and Castle Downs developed ongoing beefs with multiple factions across the city, and having almost no real allies, the violence around K2 was constant. What began as retaliation and reputation building slowly turned into something more serious. According to messages later attributed to him, the motivation wasn't just pride anymore, it was money and family pressure. With his grandma struggling and at risk of losing her home, he claimed he felt like he had no choice but to make some quick cash. That's when the story takes a darker turn. Because at some point, K2 wasn't just involved in street conflicts, he was allegedly stepping into a role where violence became transactional. Not just beef, but hits for hire. And what makes it even crazier is that, by his own words, it still didn't pay off. Instead of getting the money he was chasing, he says he got finessed, left on the run, and stuck facing consequences.
Yeah, he got the first one. He didn't get paid. The second one he got.
That went way beyond anything he had dealt with before.
Police have identified the victim of a deadly daytime shooting in Vaughan. 65-year-old Sergio Lopes was gunned down. This was Monday afternoon in a commercial plaza. It happened near Wings and Roundtree Dairy Roads.
Police have identified. Identified the man killed in a shooting outside Woodbine
This is bad too.
Mall as they continue to search for a suspect. 37-year-old Chanda Kumar Raja Nandakumar from Brampton was shot in a vehicle outside the mall at Highway 27 and Rexdale Boulevard around 3:30 Saturday afternoon.
In early 2026, 2 daytime executions sent shockwaves through Toronto and the GTA, and investigators would soon link both killings to K2 and 19-year-old Jacob Wallace. The first happened on January 26th in Vaughan, just after 1 p.m., when 65-year-old Sergio Lopez was shot multiple times outside a commercial plaza near Winges Road and Roundtree Dairy Road. He was rushed to hospital but later died from his injuries. Just under 2 weeks later, on February 7th, 37-year-old Chandan Nandakumar was shot inside a vehicle in the parking lot of Woodbine Shopping Center in Etobicoke, later dying in hospital, marking Toronto's 3rd homicide of the year. What made the
Whoa, what fuck did this Indian nigga do? Be on the bad side, bro. Fakes up. Just killed an Indian nigga for what? What's the? I need a good reason.
case even more intense was how coordinated everything appeared. Police allege the suspects fled the Vaughn shooting in a black SUV, which was later found burned near Kipling and Woodbridge Avenues, leading to additional arson charges against both K2 and Wallace. Investigators also believe the roles were split, K2 allegedly acting as the shooter in at least one of the killings, while Wallace is accused of driving the getaway vehicle during the Lopez murder. Canada-wide warrants were issued, with both men described as armed and dangerous, triggering a multi-agency manhunt.
How did they know it's them exactly? Like, how could you find a brand car? How do you know it's them exactly?
While police have not confirmed a motive, rumors quickly began circulating around both victims. Sergio Lopez was allegedly dealing with serious gambling debt, with speculation that this may have led to a hit being put out on him. On the other hand, Chandan Nandakumar, a software engineer described by friends as kind and soft-spoken, is widely rumored to have been an innocent civilian, possibly caught at the wrong place at the wrong time. For this story, this chapter marks the turning point, because this is where everything shifts, from street-level tension to something far more organized. Whether it was for money or something deeper, this is where K2 and Jacob Wallace go from being names in a growing conflict to being accused of carrying out coordinated hits across Ontario. But even before the arrests, pieces of that mindset were already starting to surface online. Because not long after the situation escalated, leaked Snapchat messages allegedly tied to K2.
That friend who leaked it is a snake. Like, why the hell would you tell your friend what happened and what you did?
Giving a rare look into what he was saying behind the scenes. On March 20th, 2026, Snapchat messages linked to K2 surfaced online while he was on the run. According to alleged private messages, he opened up to a friend about what led him down that path. He suggests his motivation was rooted in family pressure, explaining how his grandma came to him crying about how she was about to lose her home. This is what pushed him to act. He said, "I can't just sit there knowing I can go get the paper, so that's exactly what I did." He claims he was doing hits for money, but this time, things didn't go as planned. "I didn't even get paid, I got finessed," he says, adding, "That's why I hit the other one, cause I couldn't go home with nothing," suggesting both he and Jacob Wallace were left behind while Z, the person who allegedly set everything up, fled to Syria. As the situation escalated, he describes being trapped and paranoid, saying, "Now I'm like stuck out here, scared to leave the crib." The messages also references his time in Toronto, along with unconfirmed claims tied to events surrounding OT. He claims him and OT did a robbery that netted them 15 bricks of cocaine, and as a result, Lil OT was killed in retaliation.
Oh, damn.
But through all of it, the tone shifts from bravado to regret. He describes how he went from being a good kid that played hockey and stayed in school to being on the run for 2 murders. He continued, saying, "It honestly wasn't worth it. Everything you told me was all true. None of this was worth it," he admits, before ultimately saying, "Fuck it. I'm just gonna turn myself in and see how it goes from there." Taken together, the messages portray someone who once lived a normal life, driven by desperation into serious crime, only to be left facing the consequences alone with one.
No, this like, okay, I say this is like majority of like the criminal. Some just want to, get their parents out the hood. This, that. They go into this thinking they can make a quick buck. Let me make a quick buck. You end up, sure, 10K per hit. You keep doing it. Maybe 1 hit, 2 hit. Rob a place. Boom, some little money. After when it's time to go out, you either dead or somewhere else. Mm-hmm.
Warrants across the country. After the Canada-wide warrants dropped on March 3, 2026, the clock was ticking. Police across the country were searching for two 19-year-olds tied to two separate daylight murders, warning the public they were armed and dangerous and not to approach under any circumstances. The case was already everywhere and people were trying to piece together how things escalated this fast. Just 2 days later, the first break came, but not where anyone expected. On March 5th, 2026, Jacob Wallace was arrested in Museni, a remote northern community hours away from any major city. And that's what had people
That's smart, but how the hell did they know it's him except? He should cut his hair, maybe go bald.
Museni isn't Toronto. It's small, tight-knit. Everybody knows everybody. Outsiders don't blend in, they stand out instantly, which is why a lot of people were confused. Of all places to hide, it's one of the worst if you're trying not to be seen. Residents can spot someone new right away, and that kind of attention is the last thing you want when you're on the run. Police confirmed Wallace was taken into custody by the OPP and charged in...
What the hell didn't he cut his hair? Maybe gotten a fake beard. Spray on beard to make him look different.
...to the Vaughn homicide, including first-degree murder and arson tied to the burned getaway vehicle. But even after that arrest, one name was still out there, K2. For nearly 2 more weeks, Isaiah K2 Badger remained on the run, with police tracking him across provinces. Then on March 19th, 2026, it finally came to an end in Calgary, the same city he was originally from. He was arrested by the Calgary Police Fugitive Team, ending a manhunt that had stretched across the country and involved multiple agencies. His arrest was caught on camera, showing him in handcuffs being led...
Yeah, that's the one I saw. I think it happened like 3-4 weeks ago. I saw it. Saw all the videos. They posted it around everywhere.
I recorded and shouted his name, clearly shocked he had been hiding out in their area.
Oh, they caught him.
Okay, you can go around that way. I don't care. An active police event going on. If you go that way, you're not going to be safe.
He wasn't resisting at all, calm the entire time, almost like he already knew it was over. Footage from the scene also shows K9 units moving through the neighborhood, canvassing the area as police locked everything down.
Breathe, K2!
Nigga, bitch ass dog, nigga, I'll slap that nigga out.
Yo, you guys got an anonymous tip or something? What happened? Damn.
After weeks of being on the run, it all ended quietly, no chase, no struggle, just K2 being taken into custody. The next day, both Toronto Police and York Regional Police confirmed his arrest, linking him to both homicides. But the chaos surrounding K2's name didn't stop there. Not long after, a leaked phone call began circulating, where a man claiming to be housed in the same unit alleged he had assaulted K2, saying he beat him to the point he didn't even fight back.
Section 1, I'm in section 2. So he goes into his cell at 11 o'clock, it's brunch. I keep grab his tray and go back to his cell. I'm the first person to get open, who gets the door open for section 2. I went straight and rushed into his cell. He goes sitting on his mat. I sat there, I was like, you remember me? I was like, you gonna headshot me, yeah? You gonna smoke me? Not even 0.3 seconds. I hit the This didn't want to fight back or nothing, just crunched him. The CO came in, jumped on me, I still was giving him shots to his head, fam. You could hear the echoes in the cell, fam. Everybody heard him crunching it. Started looking at it.
According to the same claim, K2 was later moved to another cell block. None of this has been officially confirmed by authorities, but the clip spread quickly online, adding another layer to the story. Even behind bars, his name was still tied to controversy.
Boom, bro.
Canada
We went from a
warrants have been
good boy. He should have gotten like a construction job, bro. That might have helped them a bit. But damn, bro, that's sad. Don't be safe though. Should I end it? Should I keep going?